Perhaps you remember me. That's right. It's Dead Man. The world, as you know, is in awful shape. And it's all because of the Death Stranding. The dead started to find their way into our midst, crossing over from the other side. We call these entities BTs, Beached Things. When they came into contact with the living, the result was instant annihilation. A void out, leaving nothing but a massive crater in its wake. But that was only the beginning. Strange rain fell from the sky, rapidly aging everything it touched. A phenomenon we came to know as timefall. Structures would rust and collapse, and people grew old in an instant. The world transformed into something completely unrecognizable. Those who survived these changes came to fear both timefall and BTs alike. They withdrew into the remaining cities, which in turn closed their doors to outsiders. People ceased to travel and stopped meeting in person. They grew distant from one another and became further isolated. The social, cultural, and political bonds between humans began to crumble. The Death Stranding was hastening humanity's extinction. Seeing this, Bridget Strand, the last president of the United States of America, founded Bridges, an organization committed to making America whole again and providing a future for all humankind. However, Bridget died before she could realize this ambition. It was you, Sam, who took up her cause and resolved to see it through. Sam, the humble porter, who also possessed the unique powers of a repatriate, the one and only person who could save humanity. So with Bridges' Cupid in hand, and accompanied by the bridge baby Lou, you embarked on a journey across North America. Of course, you had struggles of your own, often phasmophobia, or the fear of being touched. The despair of having lost everything was just too much. But despite it all, you strived to bring people together. By extending the chiral network across the length and breadth of the continent, you would enable the rebirth of the United States as the United Cities of America. You were also to rescue Bridget's daughter, Amelie, who had been taken captive by terrorists. These were the vital missions you were entrusted with, Sam. We, your friends at Bridges, did everything we could to support your efforts. There was our director, Di Hardiman, a close associate of Bridget, who was dedicated to fulfilling her final wishes. His commitment to American Reconstructionism was absolute, and for that he was named the first president of the UCA. And of course, Sam, the incomparable Dead Man, yours truly. I'd like to think we became the best of friends. As you may recall, I was born from an artificial womb, and over the course of my life was the recipient of numerous organ transplants. I've always got on with the dead. I used to be a coroner. Anyway, I pushed myself physically and mentally to help you and your BB, Lou. Mama and Lochna were twin sisters, as you may remember. Skilled scientists who developed the Cupid, which was essential for chiral network expansion. A personal tragedy caused the two of them to grow apart. But they've since reconciled, with both their souls residing in the same body. Hartman. Every 21 minutes his soul departs his physical form, and for 3 minutes his body is clinically dead. During this temporary death, his soul is sent to the beach. That's why he knows more about the beach and the Death Stranding than anyone else. His knowledge proved indispensable in the execution of your mission, Sam. Fragile, leader of the private delivery outfit Fragile Express. Exposure to time. As your friends, we would stop at nothing to see you succeed. But ultimately, crossing the continent was something you had to do on your own, with only Lou for company, and with no end to the forces that stood in opposition. Deadly BTs, unforgiving terrain and unpredictable weather, ruthless terrorists. Without a doubt, your greatest enemy was Higgs. Convinced that humanity deserved to go extinct, he kidnapped Amelie. The chiral network was finally completed. The bridge to the future was built, but your ordeal was not yet over. You had to learn the real nature of the Death Stranding, a secret that Amelie had kept hidden from us all this time, and a terrible truth you had to face. But you accepted this final revelation, Sam, and did what had to be done. America rose from the ashes as the UCA, and as the people celebrated your accomplishments, you carried out one final mission in secret, to save your BB, to save Lou. You removed the child from the pod that was their prison, and began a new life together. And so it was that the two of you vanished, without so much as a trace.
Guard for BTs.
advised that usage is restricted inside facility grounds.
Trouble nearby.
Now leaving chiral network coverage. Security measures lifted. Weapons detected. advised that usage is restricted inside facility grounds.
Access the delivery terminal to process your orders and requests.
Wait, are you Sam? Then does that mean you carried this hefty delivery all the way from West Fort Knott? Way to make an entrance. We welcome you with open arms. Now let's get this cargo of yours processed. I have to say, this cargo is a thing of beauty. You've made my day. I hope you'll continue to support us in the days ahead. All right. Can you connect your Cupid to our facility?
Now displaying your current order grade.
And now we're finally connected to the chiral network. This should make our job so much easier. And to make your job easier, I've gone ahead and shared data for a suit I think you'll love. Oh, right. I also wanted to give you this as thanks. Introducing the Blood Boomerang. Throw it properly and it'll come right back to your hand. It's a reusable weapon in that regard. Folds up nicely too, so it's quite easy to carry. You'll find it's especially effective against BTs, so give it a try against the next one you meet. With the aid of your network, we should also be able to develop stronger measures to defend against belligerents, which we need since the brigands out west have rapidly improved their arsenal in recent days. Honestly, you couldn't have gotten here at a better time. Thanks be to you, we'll finally be able to focus on our research. As the chiral network has expanded, we're seeing more and more anomalies outside of the bounds of its coverage. This has led the brigands to conclude that the network itself is responsible for the worsening state of the world, which is why they're opposed to its expansion. But it's not like we can sit back and do nothing. If we don't try to improve things, humanity's doomed to go extinct. After I moved to Australia, the locals learned me all the ins and outs of the boomerang. I then designed a new type that's effective against BTs as well. You infuse it with Doom's blood before throwing it. The bigger the charge, the greater the potency. Naturally, most people would have to rely on blood bags sourced from donors, but since you have Doom's, you can also use your own blood on the spot. Unlike traditional firearms, it hardly makes noise. If your enemies don't actually see you throw it, they'll have a hard time finding you. That said, don't expect it to do too much damage to humans. Not unless you manage to hit them in just the right spot, at least. One day they started sporting a whole lot more weaponry, including grenade launchers with custom tranquilizing gas rounds. Thing is, the brigands don't have a chiral printer at their base as far as we know. So, where'd they get all the new hardware all of a sudden? Kind of worrying, don't you think? At this observatory, we focus on monitoring the behavior of tar currents. There's a patch of BT territory due north of here, and just beyond it is land that's currently being subsumed by tar. There's no telling when the facility will be lost to the tar as well. So it's important that we contribute to the research and development of countermeasures while we can. Incidents of tar current instability have grown more frequent, but we haven't been able to determine much more than that thus far. Thanks to the chiral network, though, we expect we'll be able to improve our instrument accuracy. We appreciate the help. Best of luck to you, Sam. The tar currents are acting up again. Guess it's back to work for me. Let's both keep on keeping on.
That was excellent work, Sam. Thanks to you, the better part of the Western continent has access to our services. Now it's time for you to head north and continue to expand network coverage. It is imperative that you connect all of Australia, stabilizing the environment and eliminating the remaining anomalies. There will be challenges, of course, but I know you have what it takes to overcome them. I expect more great things from you, in short.
Sam, this is Tarman. We believe that we finally determined the location of whatever's thrown the tar currents into chaos. The chiralium levels there are pretty high, though, and BTs are almost certain to be present as well. I hate to ask, but would you mind taking a look for us? It's close to your current position. I've sent you the coordinates. We're counting on you, Sam.